Have you ever felt your whole world shrink overnight? I have, and it happened the day my 9-year-old son Ethan and I moved into a single-room space above a friend's garage. Let me tell you, this wasn't some quirky, minimalist adventure. This was survival. After years of steady, if unremarkable, life as a grocery store cashier in small-town Ohio, everything changed when my husband Frank lost his battle with a relentless illness. Suddenly, our savings evaporated, and the cost of just having a roof over our heads felt like being buried in an avalanche. Now, you might be thinking, surely family steps in, or government programs help? Sometimes they do, but sometimes it's just you and your child, staring down the reality of sharing a room barely big enough for a twin bed and a folding cot. Privacy? Gone. Dignity? Hanging by a thread. The technical term here is downward mobility, but it felt more like freefall. And yet, as I sat on that creaky bed, looking at my son, I realized this chapter would either break us or bind us tighter than ever before. Ethan and I didn't arrive here by mistake. It was the logical conclusion of months, years of scraping by, of watching medical bills pile up to skyscraper heights. That night, in our new, cramped quarters, all the familiar comforts vanished. The space was so tiny, the window too small, the air heavy with grief, and the things left unsaid. So, how do you start over when your life has shrunk to 4 walls and the future looks impossibly narrow? The answer, at first, is awkwardness. Can you picture it? My grown son turning away so I could change clothes, keeping his headphones clamped on to block out my anxious phone calls with relatives. Each gesture reminded us both that something essential had shifted. Chaos theory tells us even small changes can ripple outwards to create new realities well. Our new reality was claustrophobic, humbling, and full of emotional landmines. But what came next? That's where things truly began to change. Let me tell you a story, one that still tugs at my heart. One night, after a particularly long shift, I found Ethan staring at the ceiling, worry etched into every line of his face. He whispered, "Mom, I should be taking care of you. I feel like I'm holding you back." Have you ever heard your child carry guilt heavier than any bill or burden you've faced? In that moment, I saw grief mutate into shame, an emotional virus that infects families when everything feels lost. I brushed his hair back, just as I did when he was little, and told him, "Ethan, you are not holding me back. You are the reason I keep moving forward." That breakthrough wasn't magic, but it was the beginning. Instead of surrendering to sorrow, we decided to reframe our ordeal. We made rules. Whoever woke last folded the bedding, and no one complained about the heater that sounded like a dying lawnmower. We joked about writing a book, living in a closet, a mother-son survival guide. It sounds silly, but humor became our lifeboat. Did it solve everything? Absolutely not, but it changed the air in that room, from stagnant to survivable. You might be wondering, can resilience really bloom in a space that small? The answer, surprisingly, is yes. The technical term here is cognitive reframing, and it works. By treating our challenge as an adventure, we stole back a sliver of control. Not every night was easy. Ethan juggled 2 part-time jobs and college courses, collapsing over textbooks at midnight. Other nights, he stayed up just to reassure me that this would pass. We became each other's mirror, reflecting back hope when the world offered only hardship. Picture this. The air outside is sharp, with early spring cold. Our ancient heater is on life support, and Ethan and I are hunched over mismatched bowls of ramen. Then, out of nowhere, he looks up, eyes shining, and says, "Mom, I've been accepted into a scholarship program." For a second, I couldn't even process what he'd said. My fork dropped. Was this real? He grinned, bashful as always. "It's a full scholarship, tuition, books, everything. I'm going to be an engineer." Now, maybe you're thinking, surely that's the Disney moment. Everything's solved. But life rarely ties things up so neatly. Yes, this was a breakthrough, a moment when the future felt less like a storm and more like sunrise after years of darkness. Technically, this was what psychologists call post-traumatic growth. Out of adversity, a new strength emerged. Ethan threw himself into his studies, and I doubled down at work, saving every penny. Our cramped space didn't magically expand, but hope did. In the weeks that followed, our conversations stretched beyond bills and schedules. We talked about dreams, memories of Frank, and what kind of people we wanted to be. It wasn't easy, nothing worthwhile ever is, but sharing that tiny room forged a bond tougher than concrete. The turning point wasn't really the scholarship itself. It was realizing that, together, we could survive, thrive despite everything. So how does a single cramped room become the birthplace of hope? Let me paint you a picture. By summer, Ethan's scholarship was locked in, and my savings had grown, penny by hard-earned penny. We found a modest 2-bedroom apartment, nothing fancy. But to us, it was palatial. The first night there, Ethan handed me a frame, a photo of our old room, the words, "We survived together," inscribed behind. That simple gesture, more than any paycheck or diploma, captured what we'd gained. Now, you might ask, didn't you resent what you lost? I'll be honest sometimes, but I found gratitude where I least expected it. Social scientists call this meaning-making, the process by which we transform hardship into a narrative of resilience. For Ethan and me, the challenge forced conversations we'd never had before. We discovered each other's strengths, vulnerabilities, even our shared stubborn streaks. Our story wasn't just about making do, it was about making meaning out of mess. If you take anything from our journey, let it be this: the smallest room can hold the biggest lessons. Hardship tests us, yes, but it also reveals the fierce love that keeps families moving forward. Next time life shrinks your world, ask yourself, could this be the beginning, not just the end? For us, that little room above a garage wasn't a tomb, it was a forge. And from it, we emerged stronger, together.